Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Rivlin, your host, and without further ado, we've been waiting months for it. We have speculated, we have seen glimpses of it, but now we finally know what the deal of the century, what the Trump peace plan has in store for Israelis and Palestinians. We caught a glimpse of the economic proposals of the plan last year in Manama in Bahrain, where the Bahrainis were host to a seminar, a working committee that would discuss how we could move forward with peace. And last night, the full details of the plan were unveiled by President Trump, with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at his side. Prior to revealing the plan, the Trump administration had contacted the Palestinian Authority. President Trump sent a letter to President Abbas, but was roundly rejected. So let's take a look at some of the more pressing details of the plan. It is available in the media for you to see. It's up on my Facebook page with the maps contained how the Trump administration envisages its plan for two states. So let's take a look at some key factors. Number one is President Trump reiterated the fact that Jerusalem would remain the undivided capital of the state of Israel, to great cheers in the room. But he also said that a future Palestinian state, and he was very, very emphatic about two states, would contain East Jerusalem, and these are suburbs that are beyond the Green Line, as part of their capital, and he is prepared to build an American embassy there. He also stressed that there would not be any uprooting of Israelis or Palestinians from their home, but that Israel would retain sovereignty over at least 30% of the so-called settlements in the disputed territories. We call it Judea and Samaria, and some others call it the West Bank, but it would also enable at least 70% of that territory to go to the Palestinians towards a state. Also, the issue of Gaza came up very, very much a priority. It was stressed that Gaza has to be a demilitarized zone, that there is no place for terror entities like Hamas or Palestinian Islamic Jihad, and the Trump plan is emphatic that the pay-for-slay scheme, which funds terrorists and their families, has to end, and has to end immediately, as well as the incitement of hatred. Also, a big issue for previous administrations and previous plans is how to have land contiguity, how to link Gaza to the West Bank, and the plan calls for a series of tunnels or roads and bridges that will be able to link the two areas to each other. Also, the plan calls for a 4-year settlement freeze on behalf of the Israelis, no building in disputed territories, but also allows for 4 years to enable the Palestinians to assess the plan and to start putting the processes in place to form a state. And there are some who said that it's very coincidental that this is the timeline of the Trump presidency should he win a second term next year. But the plan has been described not just by Prime Minister Netanyahu, but by many as probably one of the more realistic plans towards a lasting peace between Israelis and Palestinians. So how has it been received in the world? Last night in his speech, President Trump reiterated that there are many countries standing by. He spoke of the United Kingdom, and he also spoke of Arab states, some of whom had ambassadors like Oman, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates, who were present in the room. He said that he's got their cooperation, they're standing by to help financially build a Palestinian state. He also said, with reference to religious sites, Israelis will work in conjunction with the King of Jordan to ensure the status quo on the Temple Mount, but also said that his plan will enable Christians and Jews from Israel to visit holy religious sites, holy to Christianity and to Judaism, in areas under the Palestinian control as well. Now, what is interesting is how this plan has been received in the Arab world. We've had a cautious backing from Qatar, and it does have the endorsement of countries like Egypt, like the United Arab Emirates, like Saudi Arabia, and various others. The countries that are against it, predictably, are Iran, Yemen, Turkey, and the Palestinians themselves. Now, this is a major obstacle to peace because yesterday the Palestinian Authority and Hamas met to discuss ways that they would work against the plan, and as soon as the details were released, riots broke out in Gaza, the West Bank, parts of East Jerusalem as well. Yesterday, the IDF were given the directive to maintain security in those areas. Now, last night as well, just after the plan was announced, there were rumors that the Knesset would vote or meet on Sunday to discuss a possible annexation of some of the territories mentioned in the plan, like the Jordan Valley. However, they have been asked to backtrack, and there will be no meeting to discuss a possible annexation. And we also know that the response from the Palestinian Authority with regards to the peace plan, and I quote President Abbas directly, is no, 100 times no. And many have said, including the former ambassador of the United States to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, says that this possibly could be the last opportunity that Palestinians have to form a state of their own. And just from the political pundits' point of view, like myself, what I found very, very interesting is the response of the Arab world. And in my opinion, if the Palestinians don't make a significant move towards sitting at the negotiating table, to at least looking at the Trump peace plan as a jump-off point for negotiations, they're going to lose whatever little sympathy the Arab world still has for them. The frustration is growing, and the Arab world, most of it is warming up significantly to the state of Israel. So these are your updates from the Trump peace plan. We will keep you updated as we progress through the coming weeks. Also, we are in the middle of a crucial election cycle for Israel, and yesterday Benny Gantz, who was also present and met with President Trump yesterday, said should he be elected, he will implement the peace plan immediately after elections. But in other news, and very, very important and moving today, is the visit of Israel's President Rivlin to the German Bundestag, where he has addressed German MPs in Hebrew. This coming after a week where we have commemorated the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau death camp is particularly significant. The Israeli president standing in the Bundestag today is a real triumph over tremendous tragedy, and we were all moved to watch President Rivlin open up his address by intoning Yizkor, the memorial prayer for the dead. But he did speak importantly of being very, very conscious of the threat posed by the rhetoric of Iran, and he said, we have a war from generation to generation. We have to weed out the hatred, the anti-Semitism, and he implored Germany. He said, Germany, you cannot fail. So these are today's two top stories, a very, very big news week this week. But don't forget, you can check out our original content online at our website at www.layoftheland.online. There's an article from me all about the Stoppelsteiner project. These are little brass plaques that you can see all over Europe in memory of the victims of the Nazi Holocaust. You can also check out our Facebook page. Like us, follow us, invite your friends to like us and follow us, and please share our content. And remember, you play a vital role in educating, and you can do this by subscribing to our YouTube channel at the Israel Brief. Click on the subscribe button. You'll be notified every time we post a brief. So with a special edition of analysis of the Trump peace plan, I'm Rolene Marks with the Israel Brief. We'll chat again tomorrow.